Fair use. Grief, one day at a time. 365 Meditations to Help You Heal After Loss by Alan D. Wolfett, PhD. October 14th. Grief can't be shared. Everyone carries it alone, his own burden, his own way. By Anne Morrow Lindbergh. Misconception alert. Grief can be shared. Sharing our grief outside of ourselves is called mourning, and mourning is how we heal. Miss Lindbergh's statement is a common misconception, though, so it's one we need to be on guard for. It's easy to swallow it hook, line, and sinker. And when we do, we're setting ourselves up for stuffing our grief down deep inside and never reconciling it. Yes, we each grieve uniquely, and each of us has to find the self-motivation and courage to actively mourn. Those parts are true, but we are not alone in our grief. The more often we act on that truth, the better. The meditation reads, "My grief is uniquely my own, but I also need others to help me with it." October 15th. Think what a better world it would be if we all, the whole world, had cookies and milk about 3 o'clock every afternoon and then lay down on our blankets for a nap. A quote from Barbara Jordan. Do you ever find yourself wanting your blankie? Lots of us have or had, when we were little, a security object, something that soothed us whenever we held on to it. Maybe it's time for a security object for our journey through grief. Here are some ideas: flannel pajamas, a cozy robe, down slippers, a plush blanket, a stuffed animal, a special pillow, a soft sweater. The object might be new, used, or even something that belonged to the person who died. Whenever we're deeply feeling our grief, we can grab hold of our security object and give ourselves some time to cry or just breathe. We're never too old for cookies and milk, naps, and blankies. The meditation reads, I feel soothed when I hold on to. You fill in the blank. I need and deserve soothing. October 16th. For fast acting relief, try slowing down. A quote from Lily Tomlin. When we're in grief, we often want to get through it as quickly as possible. After all, it hurts. It's hard to experience pain day after day after day. So we keep it busy and try to distract ourselves. But our grief refuses to be hurried. It insists on taking as long as it takes. It is a dawdler, a dilly-dallyer, and a loafer. That's its nature. There's simply no rushing it. Here's the paradox, though. When we finally surrender to grief's tortoise-like pace, we often find fast-acting relief. In slowing down and accepting our grief's sluggishness, we may experience a sudden sense of peace. We are aligning with what is instead of what we wish would be. The meditation reads, I respect my grief's slowness. It is going exactly the speed it needs to go. October 17th. Life is more fun if you play games. A quote by Roald Dahl. Love can be playful, right? We enjoy spending time on interesting and silly diversions with our loved ones. We also gently tease one another and try to make each other laugh. Some of the best parts of love are the fun and games. So, if grief is love's conjoined twin, shouldn't we try being playful in our grief sometimes as well? In grief, we're playful when we remind ourselves not to take everything so seriously. When we take time outs for fun and laughter, when we allow Black humor to open the door to death and grief topics that our culture generally considers taboo. I'm not sure I'd say that grief is more fun if you play games, but I would say that grief is more tolerable if you play games. It's also more true to life and love. The meditation reads, "My grief has room for fun and laughter." October 18th. It is by going down into the abyss that we recover the treasures of life. A quote from Joseph Campbell. Now there's a metaphor we can hold on to today. Grief as a dangerous, arduous treasure hunt. No, it's not a treasure hunt we ever wanted to embark on, but here we are. And now that we're in the abyss, shouldn't we look for the treasure that's hidden here? Because there are treasures to be found at the bottom of grief, like the shiny memories of joyous times spent with the person who died, like the golden realization that our lives are most meaningful when we love and need other people, like the diamond clarity about what is truly important for us to do and be from here on in. The meditation reads, "When I am ready, I will become a treasure seeker in my grief." October 19th. Envy is the art of counting the other fellow's blessings instead of your own. A quote from Harold Coffin. We grievers can be an envious bunch. We've lost someone important to us, yet we know many others who have not suffered a similar loss. They go blithely about their lives, unaware of how lucky they are to be able to experience what we no longer can. It's normal and natural for loss to turn on the spotlight of envy. Look, it says, look at what that person still has that we don't. Loss reveals not only our own have not, but the corresponding have in others. Of course, life isn't fair. Humans across the world enjoy and suffer in widely different measures. What's more, the very people we are envying may be experiencing, unbeknownst to us, their own profound losses and challenges. We can work on cultivating perspective. We also can and should express our envious thoughts and feelings, for they are our grief talking, and grief is never right or wrong, honorable or shameful. It just is. As always, giving our grief a voice outside of ourselves helps us to befriend it, understand it, and eventually reconcile ourselves to it. Any envy I might feel is part of my grief. It is normal and natural and needs expression. October 20th. I love deadlines. I like the whooshing sound they make as they fly by. A quote from Douglas Adams. What's our deadline for getting over this grief? Do we expect to be back to normal 6 months from now? A year? 2 years? Our culture wants it to happen as quickly as possible. The people around us would usually like us to hurry up as well. We might even be self-imposing our own deadlines. But grief doesn't work that way. It doesn't respond to timetables. It takes as long as it takes, and in fact, never really ends. So the next time someone hints at a deadline for our grief, let's just smile and enjoy the sound of it whooshing by. We're masters enough of our own grief to realize by now that deadlines are mere sound effects. The meditation reads, "My grief and healing have no deadlines. Their ideal pace is whatever pace they're going." Please share, like, subscribe, and remember that grief is a part of life. It is totally natural. That mourning is a sign of grieving, and that you are not alone.